You're still watching Signature Morning on Signature TV. Now, urban sanitation management in Nigeria has become a growing concern as cities expand, and the idea of city-wide inclusive sanitation is increasingly becoming part of the conversation on how to address it. Now, joining us this morning via Zoom is Dr. Emmanuel Cokey. He's the Acting Director, Center for Water and Sanitation Studies, River State University. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Now, looking at rapid urbanization in Nigeria, how would you assess the current state of urban sanitation in Nigeria, and how does city-wide inclusive sanitation come in? What is it all about?
Yes, citywide inclusive sanitation, generally called CY, becomes very important because of the chaotic situation our urban sanitation is. Previous this time, that we more focused on rural sanitation. They have left our urban environment to be like an open sewer. For example, it may shock you that about 120 million people in Nigeria don't have decent toilets. So that tells you, if you are going out in Nigeria, in any state, from Abuja to wherever, if you are having a running stomach, you have to think twice. Even going to public government offices and you are pressed, it's difficult to have any place you can easily ease yourself. Or is it in the market? Is it the filling stations? So when they say that close to 24% of Nigeria defecate openly, it is not mad people. It is not people that choose to do that, because imagine you traveling from Port Harcourt on the road, say to Owerri, just a few 200 kilometers. There is no way you can get public toilets. So what happened is the driver will stop and people will go into the bush and shit. They are not mad people. And so if you take a greater picture into the city now, where does our excreta, sewage, fecal sludge go? Yes, you have a good toilet. Yes, you have a good water closet system. Where does it go at the end of the day? Even the city of Abuja managed to have a very miniature wastewater treatment plant that serve only the people in the 3 arm zones. Although, the rest of Abuja, the shits are thrown all over the place. So the city-wide inclusion can become necessary because we need to look at all the sanitation systems in the city. We have to look at the sanitation policies. We have to look at the agencies. We have to look at the institutions. We have to look at the behavior of even the people, even where the infrastructures are provided. There's a behavior that is inimical to good urban sanitation. So it becomes necessary that we have to look at inclusiveness. That's the essence of the word, inclusiveness. Even in the slum, not so we cannot just say, oh, we are in Maitama, we are in Wuse, we are, those big places, or we are in Port Harcourt, we're in Jere, we are in this place, we're in Cokey village, okay, we are in Victoria Island, we are in Lekki, So what about the people in Isolo? What about the people in Mushi? What about the people in Diob, in Port Harcourt? Okay, what about the people in my 9 Mile in Enugu? I can go on telling you. So what about those people? So citywide inclusive sanitation talks about creating adequate infrastructure to cope with the rapid urbanization, like you said. So that is why it becomes necessary that we need to look at these issues critically. But we can also say that in citywide inclusive sanitation, we are looking at how do we manage diverse technology. For example, in the household, the user interface, that is where we do the business. Okay, So like you could see the containment pictures. So how do we, you have WC, you have on-site facility, and then that, there are those who defecate openly. So then how do we empty? Most of the emptying, like now rain is falling in most parts of Port Harcourt and in most parts of Nigerian cities. People just open their septic tank, their pit latrine, and just hose it out into the environment. And so how do we empty? The transport, how do we transport the fecal matter from the septic tank, from the pit latrine? How do we move it from the containment pit? Where does it go? That's a big question. Then treatment, that is not even there at all. So you find out that in an average city in Nigeria, maybe another day we will show you this picture. I can show you for Port Harcourt, I can show you for Enugu, I can show you this picture for Abuja, I can show you this picture. You'll be amazed that we are literally defecating openly, everybody, including the honorable ministers and the president. Sorry, that is the truth. Because at the end of the day, when these pits are emptied, they are disposed into the environment. And so how can you even have good governance? Like the last person was talking about, no, you can't even have a good governance. These are indicators of bad governance. Because if a country cannot manage the sanitation system, you cannot govern. Sorry. If you can't manage sanitation, you can't govern. Because what you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So if you want Nigeria to be fixed, then you start fixing the obvious. This is happening in 21st century in Nigerian modern cities, the giant of Africa. Let me shock you. There have been a number of urban water and sanitation, program reform. Recently, federal government has collected $700 million for shore wash program. They have taken 7 states. None of the states can even meet the basic sanitation. None. Why? The capacity is not there. Forget, yes, we have development partners here. They are working, UNICEF, WHO, name them. But the capacity is not there. They were never structurally trained. Not structured training. So they do things they don't even understand the rationale why they are doing it. So that's why it becomes important that center is very critical. If you have to build the capacity, because you put money in the public sector, it can't work because the people that the money was meant for don't know what to do. So if you even see the other diagram, we talk about service delivery. There's no policy in the whole country that talk about fecal sludge management. We are just shitting and throwing away. All the whole waterways is polluted. Why are you surprised that we are having cholera on rainy season in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, flood everywhere? Why? Because there is no structure, there is no agency of government in the whole length and breadth of Nigeria that is responsible for how we manage basic excreta. Yes, you can say Lagos State has office for water and wastewater management. Fine. But you see, let's give credit to the founding fathers of Nigeria. Jakonde, Lagos State have close to about 7 wastewater treatment systems. None is working. Put by Jakonde. None. So every place people are just disposing wastewater straight to the river in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, in Enugu. Sorry, very soon, even the lakes, all those lakes in the southeast will all become sewage pit. And so it's critical that we have to begin to look at how we address these issues.
Now, sanitation management often suffers from fragmented responsibilities across federal, state, and local authorities. So I'd like to know, how would you say that governance and policy gaps affect the effective implementation of sanitation programs in Nigeria?
Yeah, of course, you can know, you know what our national assemblies are doing. Okay, since they look, let's even look at the 10th assembly. What policy, what legislations have they actually put in place for WASH? Now, let's go across 36 states. River State, they have an assembly, of course. We know what is happening there. So let's even leave that matter. So, which state assembly has actually enacted one law that addresses the issue of fecal sludge in the whole of Nigeria? Those pictures I'm showing you, like if you see the other ones that they are dumping on the farmland, the other, no, not this one. The next, you see fecal matter disposed on the farmland. No, there's no. So if there is no proper policy, proper legislative instrument, and even proper capacity with even the government establishment we have now, for example, and every state has Minister of Water Resources, Minister of Environment, Minister of Health, but there is no capacity for this issue. And so there's not even policy guidelines to get this done. So we need to get those policies. And now, even in okay, let's look at the shore wash program happening in Katsina and Plateau State, for example. So because to address that gap, so the World Bank says, okay, fine. You have Environmental Protection Agency that is not really protecting anybody. Can we look at amending the law to create say Plateau State Sanitation and Environmental Protection Agency? Because when we talk sanitation, all our minds go to solid waste. Solid waste is a sector on its own. I don't even want, if you put solid waste inside this matter now, it's chaotic. So let's even leave solid waste alone. At least they are trying to move it from one point A to point B. But this is issue that nobody is doing anything about. And if you go, 78% of the illnesses in Nigeria is communicable disease, and it is caused by these issues. So, so we need to look at the institutions. Some people say even the water board, water corporations, they're just dragging, okay, we can do this, but even the water you cannot supply. So why don't you even focus? Okay, look at in Port Harcourt, for example, we have the Urban Water African Development Bank project. The facility has been built, good facility, modern water supply facility, but the water has not gone out of the Port Harcourt Water Corporation. Complete, good facilities. Go to Kaduna, the same thing. Go to all over. The water is, people are still digging boreholes. So for me, I would feel that proper policy and proper strategy will be, now that we have treatment plants, I think good water treatment plants in Port Harcourt that I can testify. Modern system, modern. If you enter that premises, you'll be amazed what you have there. But the water is not on the street. Nobody's getting the water. Because for you to get the water, they have to put pipe and put meter. Water is not free. Water has economic goods. That fund that the River State government borrowed, about 260 million USD, has to be paid back. So, also, these are, then you look at even what I'm talking now. Even if properly managed, can even increase the internal generated revenue of the state. For example, we estimated in Lagos State, if Lagos State can be able to manage their complete private service chain, they can generate 10 billion naira every month. So we're not talking about free services, but it has to be structured and intentionally, deliberately done to be able to achieve that goal. And so there's lack of capacity. If the capacity is there, then people can be able to let their government know that you can build this infrastructure, you can build these services and generate revenue. At the same time, keep people healthy. If every day you go to the, and even the general hospital is tooling down here, why did you? It is that we are eating shit. And let me tell you something. We say 24 million, 24% are doing open defecation. You find out that When a whole sewage truck empties its sewage on the river, on the land, it is equal to 5,000 people doing open urban defecation. So we need to look at how do we address this issue. That is why sewers comes in. And sewers require a deliberate plan. You must know. You must have the mandate organization. It is not a job for everybody. Which organization is the lead agency? And as of now in Nigeria, apart from the state that are benefiting from short program that have tried to create a lead agency, but again, the issue is capacity. The capacity is not there. So even the $700 million that was borrowed cannot be utilized because you have to utilize it, and it is performance-based investment. So when you perform, reach a milestone, you can get the money. So it's not like a loan. It's not like they give you, oh, go and look for what. No, it's a performance base. When you perform, reach a milestone, you can get the money. So the money is there. At the World Bank, nobody can get it because they are not meeting the requirement of the performance target that requires you to get the funding. And so it requires that states, government needs to begin to look at this because, by the way, these are matter in concurrent lists and residual lists. So in a way, too, you don't really have to blame the federal government in a way, but the federal government should be able to have a national policy that shows this is the direction we want to go. And then they can do benchmarking across the states. So, but it's a pity we are where we are here. But again, we can't continue like this. That is why urban sanitation should take priorities among states.
Mandate. But states actually implement these services. What concrete legal or fiscal reforms do you recommend to ensure state and that the local government also would find a way to deliver these seaways at scale? And how would you prevent funds being diverted?
Well, the first, I think it starts with we need to know where are we now. What is the status? Where are we, and what are the systems? So inventorization, context is studying the contextual situation of the sanitation in every state, all those states, and then so when you know what are kind of the systems we have, like I said, Lagos State are even at more advantage because they at least have infrastructures that they can put back to functionality. River State, Port Harcourt has one system that broke down during, Amaechi government put it, subsequent government don't think about it. So it's broken down, it's not working. So you go to other states, some states have some facility like Enugu, those older states, they have something, but it's not working. So the point now is you need to do a proper, auditing of what you have. And then what are the policies that others are doing? For example, the world will not wait for Nigeria. Our neighbors, say like Burkina Faso, say like Senegal, say like Abidjan, Ivory Coast. They are making efforts. They are making genuine efforts. And so that's why the program we run in the center is a global program we're running across the world. And we have a regional hub that most university is doing in West Africa and other East and so those for example, we notice that how often do people even empty their septic tank? Some septic tanks, I'm sure even you will be amazed. I'm not sure even your own septic tank have been emptied in the past 10 years. Some septic tanks are not empty at all. So when they want to empty, when assuming because the water start coming back to the toilet and they want to empty, and then the guys only suck water. The real solid matter is not removed. It's just water. But again, there's also something I can let you understand is that these things are resources. Come on. These things that we're talking that will be a discussion for another day. Like you see that farm they put it, I won't tell you the state. These things are resources. So if properly treated, for example, we have problem of fertilizer. Why do we have to why do we have to go to Morocco? Morocco is the only very few countries have the highest have the ore for phosphorus. Phosphorus is the major item in fertilizer. Nitrogen you can get from the air, potassium you can get it, but phosphorus is a limiting factor. So that's why we import phosphorus from Morocco to fortify our fertilizer. But do you know that the richest source of phosphorus is a human excreta? So imagine if we properly treat, recover organic fertilizers, mix it with organic waste, solid waste, and animal waste, you build a sound fertilizer that can grow crops. And now we're having food insecurity. Most of our land has suffered from nutrient depletion because of application of chemical fertilizers. So these things are resources. From this same fecal matter I'm talking about, you can get charcoal. You can replace your charcoal, what we call biochar. And that would reduce forest depletion or deforestation. Why do you think water hyacinth is growing all over, especially in Bayelsa? It's because the nutrients from fecal matters are going to the river. If you remove those fecal matter, no water hyacinth will grow in any water body. And again, this water hyacinth is also resources. So the sanitation we're talking now is a secular economy, secular sanitation. And what stewards try to do is that what resources can we recover? So it's not an open-ended thing that you just take and done. But we need to begin to address this issue because it affects our children. Our children are stunted. Look at the kind of water people are picking, where already fecal matter have been dumped into. I'm not even talking about industrial waste, I don't even leave that one. But we're talking about the number of people we have in each city. So these are big issues. The state must first do situational analysis, engage all the stakeholders. There has to be some behavioral change because some people, even if you provide toilet, they don't. Some people sit on squat on top of water closet to go to toilet. Some people put their leg on public wash hand basin to wash their leg. So the issue of behavioral change. But then after doing what, then we talk about policy. What are the policies we need to make this work? Because private sectors have to invest. The PPP aspect of it, especially in the treatment.
All right, Dr. Cokey, thank you so much for your time.
Save Nature TV, news in your pocket.